broadcasting to you on E1, Star TV in Georgetown, RZ TV in Bartica. In the headlines, a domestic worker in Berbice dies after severe beating by her husband. ExxonMobil announces 800 million more barrels of oil. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich sends a warning to Venezuelan migrants who enter Guyana illegally. And in sport, value your wicket, Windies captain Jason Holder tells Shimron Hetmeyer. Good evening. 6 days after allegedly being beaten by her husband, 44-year-old domestic worker Sabita Shamnarain of Linepad Village, East Berbice County, died in Room-Exxonmobil hospital on Saturday evening. Shamnarain was reportedly abused by her husband for several years, and on some occasions in the presence of their child, who is now 5 years old. On the night of July 15th, Shamnarain was beaten so badly that it left marks of violence about her head, neck, and abdomen. She was allegedly cuffed, kicked, and beaten by her husband, who has so far been only identified as Manoj. He has been arrested and remains in police custody. The woman was taken to the hospital by a friend on Monday last after she pleaded not to be taken back home for fear of more beating. Mere hours after being admitted, she was reportedly rendered unconscious due to the beating and had to be transferred from the Skeldon Hospital to the New Amsterdam Hospital on Friday after her condition continued to deteriorate. She was placed on life support in the intensive care unit but eventually succumbed on July 21st. A post-mortem examination is expected to be done to determine the exact cause of death. A family friend who spoke with the newsroom said they have been pleading with Shamnarain to leave the abusive relationship, but she was always very fearful of leaving. An accident which occurred on Sunday morning on Freedom Public Road has left one dead and two friends injured. According to the family of the dead man, the trio was rushing to help a friend at Good Fortune West Bank Demerara, who called to say that his home was being broken into. Bibi Katoon has our story.
For the family of 20-year-old Victor Aditya Ram, there is deep anguish. Ram died in an accident at Freedom on the west coast of Demerara on Sunday morning. A day later, his mother continued to weep uncontrollably and was not able to speak with the newsroom. His father, Suraj Paul Ram, said he last saw his son at about 2 p.m. on Saturday when he dropped him at a barber at Freedom Junction.
The information that was on New Road by a fellow we called Fat Boy, known to everybody. They were there, having a few drinks, I can't tell here. And one of the friends called and said somebody trying to break in their home. That is news I have today. I didn't have that before. And they left with a speed. And the guy that was driving the car lost control. And he ran into the fence. My son was in the passenger seat and he went through the windscreen. He fling about 40 feet away from the car where the car stopped. And I can't understand he died instantly.
Ram of Lot 496 Crane Housing Scheme West Coast Demerara died after the driver of the car in which he was traveling lost control and crashed into a metal signboard and a concrete fence at Vredenhoek Public Road. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the West Demerara Regional Hospital, while the driver of the vehicle, 23-year-old Bishram Ramkishore of Good Fortune West Bank Demerara, was admitted in critical condition at the Housing Hospital. There was also a third occupant in the car, 23-year-old Kevin Henry, who is in a stable condition at the public hospital. The man fought tears as he described his son as a jovial young man who was always helpful.
A very jovial person. Easygoing. You don't have problems with nobody. You are a loving person. Everybody like you. If you ask him to do something, he willingly will come and help you. And he's a friend and assistant too. And he met his death.
A relative of the driver also related to the newsroom that on the night of the incident, the family was unable to get an ambulance from the West Demerara Regional Hospital as they were told that there was no driver available. Ram has left to mourn his 23-year-old sister, father, mother, and other relatives and friends. Investigations are ongoing. Bibi Katoon, Newsroom.
The American oil giant ExxonMobil today said it estimates to bring up 800 million more barrels of oil than its previous estimate of 3.2 billion barrels. With the revised estimate, the company said it has advanced its evaluation to support a third phase of development and consideration of 2 additional phases. Farisa reports.
The government said ExxonMobil's revised estimate of 4 billion recoverable barrels of oil will lead to increased confidence and investor interest in Guyana. Minister of Natural Resources Rafael Trotman called the announcement good news for the people of Guyana and for future generations. He said citizens can be assured that the management of the oil and gas industry is in prudent and capable hands who will take the time and solicit the expertise needed in ensuring that all aspects of this industry is managed in the best interests of the people of Guyana. Trotman said the government understood the anxieties and concerns of persons both in wanting to see the revenues to be derived, allocated now, and the judicious management of the oil wealth. ExxonMobil's increased estimate of the 4 billion barrels of oil takes into account testing at the Liza 5 appraisal well, a discovery at the Ranger well, incorporation of the 8th discovery into the Tarbot area evaluation, completion of the Pakura discovery evaluation. The company quoted Neil Chapman, its senior vice president, as saying, outstanding resource quality across these opportunities, combined with industry-leading project execution capabilities, will provide great value to resource owners, partners, and our shareholders. Guyana's first development, Liza Phase 1, will use a floating production, storage and offloading vessel, FPSO, to produce 120,000 barrels of oil per day starting by early 2020. Liza Phase 2, which is targeted for sanctioning by the end of this year, will use an FPSO vessel designed to produce up to 220,000 barrels of oil per day and is expected to be producing by mid-2022. The Liza 5 well successfully tested the northern portion of the Liza field and along with the giant Payara well will support a third phase of development in Guyana. The Payara development will target sanctioning in 2019 and will use an FPSO vessel designed to produce approximately 180,000 barrels of oil per day as early as 2023. The company said there is potential for additional production from significant undrilled targets and plans for rapid exploration and appraisal drilling, including at the Ranger discovery. Fariza Hanif reporting for the newsroom.
When the newsroom returns, a couple is beaten and stabbed on the Georgetown seawall, and Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge sends a warning to Venezuelan migrants who enter the country illegally.
It's rare badly damaged. Pieces of the lights and other shattered glass were also noticed in the driveway. The man went to the sawmill located a short distance away from the home and set it alight. The Guyana Fire Service and the police were summoned to the scene, but could not manage to save the business since it was already engulfed in flames upon their arrival. On Monday morning, it was noted that the entire structure was burned to the ground, with just the washroom facility standing. The police said damages were estimated to be some $20 million. Ramesh Thakur was arrested following the incident by ranks from the Lagrange police station. Newsroom spoke with a woman who was at the house, but she related that the man's wife was not wrong to engage the media. An investigation has been launched. Bibi Khatun, Newsroom.
Returning Guyanese and Venezuelans who wish to seek refuge in Guyana are urged to use official ports of entry or face the consequences. Davina Samaru reports.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge explained that Guyana has taken a stance to assist the thousands who are fleeing worsening social and economic crisis, but he contended that they must follow the immigration rules.
Those who seek entry, of course, have to establish where they're coming from and that they don't fall into a category that we would regard as problematic. And they are required to enter Guyana by its lawful entry points. So if you use a port of entry, if you use some point other than a lawful port of entry, the authorities will have to say something to say about it. You will be required to satisfy that requirement before consideration will be given to you being entitled to stay for any period.
Greenidge, who also holds a portfolio of the country's second vice president, told reporters at a news conference Monday that the region is generally encouraging countries to avoid deporting individuals who are in pursuit of better lives. As the economic crisis in Venezuela worsens, Guyana has seen an influx of nationals from the neighboring country who are seeking shelter in hinterland communities close to the borders. More than 100 persons have crossed the Guyana-Venezuela border within a day and have settled in Region 1 Birima-Waini, many of them illegally. The Ministry of Citizenship is said to be working with the Venezuelans, and the subject Minister Winston Felix is on record saying that the country is trying to chart a course away from prosecution for those who enter illegally. Persons claiming to be Guyanese nationals have also returned from Venezuela, but Minister Grenage asserted that those individuals have to prove their citizenship.
You can't just appear on the border, say I'm Guyanese, and be shooting. You have to establish if you're a Guyanese by birth or if you're Guyanese by naturalization or you're Guyanese by descent. All of that has to be established.
If those who are claiming to be Guyanese can prove their nationality, they will be free to move about the country. On the other hand, failure to do so will result in them having to be registered and treated as an immigrant. Greenwich further noted that all those returning will be subjected to vaccination in order to protect the health of citizens of Guyana. If they refuse to be vaccinated, the minister made it clear that they will have to leave. Davina Samaru reporting for the newsroom.
A 34-year-old minor fleeing Avenue George is in a stable condition at a city hospital nursing stab wounds to the armpit, while his 33-year-old female friend was treated for an injury to the head after they were both attacked by bandits on Sunday night at the Georgetown seawall. Police said that Diane Ramsaway and Ryan Chandraban were sitting on the seawall in the vicinity of the Rupert Craig Highway when two men, one of whom was armed with a knife, confronted them at around 11:30 p.m. They managed to steal the woman's cell phone valued at $27,000, during which they hit her on the head. At this time, Chandraban intervened and he was stabbed to the left armpit. The bandits escaped on a Jiling motorcycle and the couple was taken to the hospital in an ambulance as investigations continue. We tell you now, fruitful discussions on Guyana's overlapping maritime boundaries with Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago hinge on the outcome of the court case regarding the controversy with Venezuela.
The majority of the Caribbean's international maritime boundaries are yet to be established, owing to several outstanding boundary matters which are yet to be resolved among Caribbean nations. Though not much progress can be made with just two parties, both Guyana and Barbados have expressed an interest in furthering discussions on its overlapping maritime boundaries. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich told a news conference on Monday that Barbados' newly elected Prime Minister Mia Mottley has signaled her interest in having such talks with Guyana.
Prime Minister of Barbados did say to us that they would be interested in looking at this matter. The President did indicate to the Barbados Prime Minister, that we will talk about this one. The technicians can at least have a preliminary look.
Many of the maritime boundaries in the Caribbean overlap because many of the nations are situated in close proximity with each other. Greenwich explained that therefore, in order to have a definitive resolution, all parties must be involved.
That the boundaries, the maritime boundaries between Guyana and these Caribbean neighbors overlap with the maritime boundaries with each other as well as with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And therefore it becomes difficult for us to simply negotiate a boundary with one partner when the boundaries may overlap with two or three.
He said whatever talks are to take place largely hinge on the outcome of the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy, which is currently before the International Court of Justice for a final and binding decision on the matter. Though no technical or political discussions between the countries have taken place in the longest while, Greenwich said there is a likelihood of some talks with Trinidad and Tobago.
We are on the verge of signing, because we've agreed a draft, a framework agreement which has to do with cooperation in general, and secondly an MOU on energy which will touch on a variety of areas of cooperation in relation to energy. which may or may not have implications for maritime space.
Though the boundaries between Guyana and Barbados are yet to be established, the two countries had in 2003 signed an agreement for joint cooperation in the overlapping area. Davina Samaru, Newsroom.
Meanwhile, Minister Greenwich reported that both local and international lawyers are working around the clock for Guyana's preparation before the International Court of Justice, where it is hoping for a favorable ruling to resolve the border controversy with Venezuela. Guyana has to prepare a petition on its case for filing at the World Court by November 19th. Venezuela was given up until April 18, 2019 to file its counter-arguments, but that country has since expressed an unwillingness to participate in the process. When the news returns, regional and international headlines along with the financial
before they head to Warner Park St. Kitts for the final match on July 28. Meanwhile, the West Indies captain Jason Holder is in high praise of young batsman Shimron Hetmyer, but wants him to add greater value to his wicket by playing longer innings, which could be match-defining. Akeem Green reports.
Gifted Guyanese batsman Shimron Hetmyer has only played 10 one-day internationals, 6 tests and 3 T20 internationals. This career has begun in April 2017 after producing some pugnacious innings at the top of the order for Guyana Jaguars. Just over a year into his international career, he has already become one of the mainstay of the team's batting in his new role in the middle order. It is in that role Captain Jason Holder wants to see Hetmyer push on and make a more definitive mark for his team.
It's something that him and I have been talking about for a little while. You know, he's probably one of the better players to spin in our dressing room, and he's also one of the few left-handers that we have in the middle order. You know, I just encourage him, to go deep. You know, I spoke to him last night before the game, and one of the things we spoke about is him backing down to at least the 35th over before he starts to go and starts to expand.
The 21-year-old stroked a compact high score of 52 from 78 balls in the West Indies' 4-1 defeat to Bangladesh on Sunday at Providence. It was his maiden half-century which adds to his 127 against United Arab Emirates in the World Cup qualifiers earlier this year. Holder, who also faced immense scrutiny when he took over leadership position in 2015, is adamant that a left-hander who is from Kanchi Berbice will only get better over time.
Probably the situation in the game today maybe had dictated him to go a little deeper than the 35th, down to probably the 40th over, and then giving the hitters at the end enough leeway to come in and execute their game. But it's something we just spoke about as well. But he's a young, talented player. I think he will learn as time goes on, and we just got to invest some time in it.
West Indies will want Hetmyer and others to come good on Wednesday as they look to level the series at Providence before heading to St. Kitts for the final ODI on Saturday. For the newsroom, Akeem Green.
Still in cricket, the Maltino Sports Club's annual cricket academy got off to a bright start on Monday morning with a huge turnout of boys and girls accompanied by their parents at the Thomas Lance Club. For the next 2 weeks, the youngsters will be edified in the fundamentals of the sport as well as critical life skills. The academy, which is an annual undertaking by the club, will capture a wide range of topics with specific focus on cricket development. Apart from practical sessions outdoor, there will be classroom-like sessions dealing with topical issues.
The academy was based on developing not only the technical aspects of the cricketers and their God-given talent, but also providing a nexus between the sport and education, the sport and social awareness. And the general concept was to make a young person, even if they didn't went on to play at the highest level of cricket, into a meaningful contributor to our society.
Barry told the gathering at the official opening on Monday that the academy over the years has churned out some top quality players.
Among some of the persons who would have passed through this academy would have been some notable names such as Ramnir Sarwan, former West Indies player and even captain, Steve Messiah, Zilma Anif, Ricardo Mohammed, Colin Murray, Karen Ganesh, and a number of other young players who would have come from various parts of the country, who would have participated in the academy, who would have benefited from among the Maltinos players. You'd have people like Stephen Jacobs, who have gone on to play for Guyana, both the youth level and senior level, and will be part of the persons sharing his knowledge. Lennox Cush, who's now an entrepreneur in his own right, a former national player, and numerous other young cricketers would have passed through this academy. So you're joining those ranks.
Minister with responsibility for sport and social cohesion, Dr. George Norton, delivered feature remarks at the opening.
But I am impressed this morning by the numbers that are out here. And, you know, you heard that I'm the Minister of Social Cohesion. And one of our vision and mission is to have a gender balance in all our activities. And I'm pleased to see the female participants here today. And I want to give yourself a round of applause. Any program that helps to empower our youths in Guyana will always have the full support of this administration and of me as a minister. I would be happy, I will bend backwards, I will do everything I could in order that our youths can have opportunities like these.
The cricket coaching aspect of the academy would be conducted by seasoned coach Oren Bailey.
Basically, my job here is to make sure that I get all the fundamentals over to these kids. And when I say fundamentals, I mean the basic necessary equipped cricketing technique, skills, right? And most of all, the discipline aspect towards the game. We know that the cricket has evolved now to a much shorter version, which is the 1 days and the 20 overs. But to be a cricketer, everybody aspire to be test cricketer, and you make a name from test cricket. And without a basic technique, right, you don't have that to take you into test cricket. So my task here is to make sure that these guys, and male and female, grasp it and have a fair idea of what they're doing. Make sure that the muscle memory is working during cricket.
At the end of the academy, the youngsters have the option of seeking membership with the Maltinos Sports Club to further improve on their skills. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avanash Ramzan. Close to 50 students of the West Demerara Secondary School got a rare opportunity to interact with Caribbean Premier League coaches and Guyana Amazon Warriors player Devendra Bishu on Saturday when Digicel conducted its youth cricket series at the Georgetown Cricket Club ground border. The details in this report. The eager youngsters were taken through their paces by coaches Eason Crandon and Michael Franco-Hiles before Bishu arrived to spend some time with them at the former test match venue.
I always love spending time with the kids. CPL and Digicel have been doing this for a while now, and they want our grassroots to have a good foundation, you know. And it's always an honor to share my knowledge and turn up to these events. One day I was like them, and I never used to reach too much of West Indies players, and being here with them, and I know they feel a little bit different, and they are happy that I am here. So I would like to say thanks to Digicel and CPL for this. I hope they keep doing this more often, and you know, keep the Guyana players and West Indies players a part of this youth system. And we always love to, as I'm speaking on behalf of the rest of the players, and we would always love to turn up to these events. So I want to say thanks to Digicel and CPL again.
Firstly, I would like to say that so far that what we have been doing is definitely enhancing some of the skills that I thought I had mastered already. But as you go along, you really notice that even though you might reach a certain level, there's always a next step in the journey. I'll also like to say that we were quite disappointed to find out that we couldn't actually meet the members of the actual Guyana Amazon Warriors team. But anyway, we'll still like to thank you for the coaches for being here with us. We'd like to thank our headmaster Saharian Narain for allowing us to come out today. And also like to thank the students who took part in the competition, because if it wasn't for them, we won't be here.
Guys, yes, this afternoon's event is a culmination of our Digicel Youth Cricket Series, which includes our CPL brand as well as Digicel, coming together to bring community and cricket together and youth. And we know that cricket is something that does that. It brings the community and the youth together, both internationally, regionally, and at community level. This is our grassroots way of giving back, and the students who are here today, they voted in our phase 1 Digital Youth Cricket Series for their group to get a chance to take part in the coaching clinic today and to meet our brand ambassador, Devendra Bishu. So this is just our way of cementing our place with cricket, youth and development, and saying that we're around for a while as it relates to cricket and CPL.
Reporting for the newsroom, I'm Afash Ramzan. And finally, some football news. The curtains came down on the inaugural ExxonMobil Boys and Girls Under 14 Schools Football Tournament on Saturday, with Chase Academic Foundation and Charlestown Secondary taking the lion's share of the spoils at the Ministry of Education ground on Carifesta Avenue. Akeem Green reports.
The boys from Chase entered the final as favourites and lived up to expectations by hammering North Runville Multilateral 6-1. Despite the one-sided scoreline, it was a highly entertaining match that kept the sizable audience interested. By half-time, Chase were up by 3 goals with Devon Padmore in the second, Ceylon Sue in the 6th, and Jahi Alcindor in the 23rd making marks, but Maltese Orlando Dickey gave his side hope when he scored in the 18th. Well, the fight back many hoped Multi would have produced did not materialize in the second half, and it was a procession of goals by Chase. Ronaldo Abrams in the 36th, Shaquan Liverpool in the 41st, and Kevin Mullen added the final nails in the coffin to sink Multi. Chase won $300,000, which goes towards the school project of their choice, while Multi took home $200,000. Boxing and Developers came third with their 8-1 victory over St. John's College and won $100,000, while St. John's got $50,000. Captain Brandon Solomon spoke of his delight in his team's performance.
I feel very happy because we came out with a victory, and it's the first and the 14th tournament and we won it. The coach was telling us play hard, keep working, use a high tempo in the game. It is very important because it's a dream to play with Chase on the 17th team.
In the girls' category, Charleston landed 3 unanswered goals into East Rumville to replace South Rumville in the final due to South playing an overage player in the semi-finals. Shania Easton bagged a brace with goals in the 8th and 40th, while Donna Lowe scored in the 25th. For third place, New Campbell won without having to break a sweat, as South did not turn up for the match.
Played well, they cooperate well and so forth, but it was a problem with the passing and so forth.
Are you guys happy about this win? How happy are you guys?
We are 100% that we won the game. We look forward to win the next tournament and so forth.
The girls were awarded the same prize as the boys, and both Director of Petro Organization Troy Mendonca and ExxonMobil's Senior Director of Public and Government Affairs, Deidre Moe, expressed their gladness in the well-organized tournament.
We at Petra, we're very happy to have this tournament. As we said earlier, when we launched the tournament, this part of the puzzle we were trying over the past couple of years to solve, and to have our under 14 boys and girls on this for the past 7 weeks, it is very much in keeping with our aim, which is to revitalize football in schools.
Congratulations to all the players for having a great tournament over the last 7 weeks. We're excited to be a part of the U14 program and the tournament, and you guys played rain or shine and did a great job, had great sportsmanship the entire time. We're so glad to be a part of this. Thank you so